Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Her Excellency Ibu Mari Pangestu, who is now entering the venue. Her Excellency Ibu Mari Pangestu, Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy of the Republic of Indonesia, Their Excellencies, ambassadors, distinguished delegates, members of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council, ASEAN Head of Investment Agency, ladies and gentlemen, our warmest greetings and cordial welcome to all of you this morning to the island of Bali for the opening session of the ASEAN Business and Investment Summit 2011. This year's Business Summit will set the stage of highlighting the current position of ASEAN Economic Community vis-à-vis the global community, and we look into three crucial areas that will shape the environments in which ASEAN businesses operate, which are climate change and the global food crisis, ASEAN connectivity in the context of infrastructure development and entrepreneurship, and the role of innovation play in the region's economic development. Ladies and gentlemen, to commence with the opening session, please welcome Mr. Anangga Roosdiono, Chairman of ASEAN Business Advisory Council, to deliver his welcoming remarks.
Her Excellency Dr. Mari Pangestu, Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy, my colleague of the Indonesia Chamber of Industry, Kadin, Mr. Sofjan Wanandi, Chairman of the Indonesian Employers Association, and all my colleagues of APindo, my colleagues of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council, distinguished speakers and participants, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council and its members, I would like to welcome you to Bali to the 9th ASEAN Business and Investment Summit. We hope that you will take time after the summit to enjoy all Bali has to offer, and especially to enjoy the ASEAN Fair the whole month in this area. The ASEAN Business and Investment Summit 211 is related to the ASEAN Leaders Summit and the East Asia Summit. Therefore, it is not only involving ASEAN business players, but also those coming from the dialogue partners such as Korea, Japan, India, Australia, and America. In fact, it was here in Bali 8 years ago that we held the first ASEAN Business and Investment Summit, when ASEAN leaders made their landmark announcement to form the ASEAN Economic Community by 2020. Their goal was to strengthen and grow ASEAN as a global economic player. As you know, events have moved rapidly since that time. The date for an ASEAN single market has been brought forward to 2015, and a comprehensive blueprint for action is in place. ASEAN has a network of free trade agreements with its partners in East Asia, and we are working on building stronger trade and investment ties with Europe and the United States. Despite setbacks and severe natural disasters, including most recently the tragic impact of the unprecedented flooding on our friends in Thailand, ASEAN is now very resilient and confident, and we are more integrated with regional and global markets. However, the issues for the summit and for our leaders are much more complex and challenging. With global financial markets in turmoil and stalled growth in developed markets, the question is, will ASEAN and East Asia able to maintain their growth trajectory? What will be the impact on ASEAN as it takes the final steps to meet its 2015 target? And this complex environment and constraint and shortages, how do we ensure a more sustainable and inclusive future over the longer term? We have among our speakers and participants at this summit considerable expertise and experience. In the discussion over the next 2 days, we would like to draw upon your knowledge and advice so that as partners in business, we can gain a better understanding of how to meet our immediate challenges and keep the momentum of growth in our region. This year, we have specifically scheduled sessions with several of our major trade and investment partners. This is a signal that ASEAN sees its future as an outward-looking and integrated community. We think that ASEAN is an increasingly good place for our partners to invest, and we want comprehensive economic relationships that are built on mutual trust and benefit. I can assure you that our governments are keen to hear the messages of business from this summit. We are fortunate to have several of our leaders scheduled to speak over the next 2 days, and ministers will take part in discussions. I would also invite you to participate in the 2011 survey on ASEAN competitiveness conducted by the ASEAN Business Advisory Council. The objective of this survey is to collate business views on regional competitiveness and economic integration for presentation to the ASEAN leaders. Survey forms can be found in your conference bag. Please drop all completed forms into the boxes placed in strategic positions around the summit venue. Our hope is that with more participation, we have a stronger and more representative voice for the business community across ASEAN. Ladies and gentlemen, let me close with some words of thanks. First, I would like to thank all our sponsors who at a time of uncertainty have been very generous in their support. They have stake in the ASEAN mission, and I encourage you to look more closely at their services and products. Second, I would sincerely like to thank our fellow organizers of this summit, the Indonesian Employers Association APindo, and their hard-working team led by Mr. Sofjan Wanandi, the Indonesian Investment Coordinating Board BKPM, and the Ministry of Trade under the guidance of His Excellency Gita Wariawan, the Minister of Trade of Indonesia. I would also give our sincerely appreciation for Ernst & Young Indonesia, who has been our strategic partner in the process of selection of the ASEAN Business Award 2011, and the judges panel who have selected ASEAN's best large-sized companies and SMEs to be awarded on their achievement in 2011. Finally, I would like to thank you, the speakers, moderators, and participants of this summit for coming to Bali, and I encourage you to take part actively in all the proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Bapak Anangga. And now we cordially invite Bapak Sofjan Wanandi, Chairman of APindo, Indonesian Employees Association, Vice Chairman, Board of Trustees, Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to deliver welcome remarks.
Your Excellency, Ibu Dr. Mari Pangestu, our Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy, Excellencies, Mr. Anangga Roosdiono, Chairman of ASEAN-BIS, distinguished speaker and participant, ladies and gentlemen. First, I would like to add my welcome to you on behalf of the Indonesian Employers Association, or APindo, which I pleased to be co-organized of the summit in the Bali this year. APindo represents many large businesses with trade and investment in the regional and global markets, and many small businesses across Indonesia with a big stake in the development in the ASEAN economic community. Like you, we are very concerned about the crisis unfolding in global financial markets, especially in the Eurozone, and the impacts this will have on us in ASEAN and East Asia. Right now, ASEAN and the rest of Asia offer a relatively stable economic environment. However, as economists, we are more open and integrated than we have ever been. This has helped our regions build strong growth, but it also exposed us to greater risks and volatilities from outside the regions at this time. At this summit, we will be discussing what we should do to cope this risk and keep the region growing as we move to establish the ASEAN Economic Community over the next 3 years. And that is what I am talking to my business colleagues. Are we ready, really, to be an ASEAN Economic Community within 3 years? And this is what we like to discuss, especially amongst the ASEAN leaders here, business leaders, how we can cooperate together, how we can work together to take these opportunities and to be ready in the next 2 years, because this is the best time for us, the business community, to be united, to work together and make our region in ASEAN as really the place for the best investment and trade in the future. This is up to us now. And I think everybody is out there, especially the press is talking to me today, this morning, whether the business ASEAN community is ready by themselves. Are we willing to take these opportunities? And I think we have to do. There is no more opportunities otherwise. This is the best opportunities for us. Let's do together. Like us in Indonesia, the big business community is committed themselves to invest first in our countries, to be frank. We are complaining a lot to the government, but we know we have to cooperate. And now amongst ASEAN, you are here for 2 days. We have a lot of time to discuss amongst us. Can we do it? Because I don't see that we have done our homework in the past. And we don't have time anymore for 2015. If we like to be ready, this is only 3 years' time to be ready. Otherwise, we need to postpone that if we are not ready. We don't like to have the problems what faced now in the Eurozone. And this is what we have to discuss that in the next 2 days amongst businessmen. Especially the first day today, we have to discuss amongst us to be ready to cope with the crisis, but to be also and take these opportunities to bring these regions as really an entity, what we like together, the business like that, and also socialize that to the people. This is what we have not done maybe in Indonesia, to socialize that. And sometimes our Indonesians to understand what kind of communities, economic communities that we like to have in 2015. Are we face the same like we have it with China? And this is something I like that we discussed that today, and we come to a very concrete solution. As businessmen, we are not talking nonsense only. We don't have time to do that anymore. And this is what I like us for the next 2 days to talk amongst us, to be sure that we can be together, or we have to work alone by ourselves. And we don't want to have that. And this is, we hope that the government are so prepared for that. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe the important things at this time is for our government to move forward, to make ASEAN and the region an even stronger and more sustainable place to invest and to do business. Thank you, Pak Gita. welcome, because I know you are just in opposites of us, you know, to have, because this is the opening of the summit there, the ASEAN summit of head of state. Now we have the summit of the business summit here, and thank you for coming and support this business summit between us two. Let me repeat it again. I believe the important things at this time is for our government to move forward, to make ASEAN and the region an even stronger and more sustainable place to invest and to do business. Strong consumers' demand will play an important role, but we must not take this for granted. What we need now is a concerted effort to get on with the infrastructure plans in the regions to underpin further business development, build competitiveness, and enable more of our economy to contribute to the growth. Indonesia alone will need billions of dollars in the next 10 to 15 years on various infrastructure projects, highways, railways, ports, airports, telecommunications, to connect the entire archipelago. Other countries have a similar list of infrastructure needs. Our government will contribute only a small fractions of the total amount. The rest will come primarily from the private sectors. The ASEAN infrastructure funds, which we discussed at this summit, will certainly help. As you know, the ASEAN Master Plan of Connectivities lays out the plan and strategies for infrastructures, the distribution and logistics channels, and many other factors that are needed to connect ASEAN and the regions. We also have a master plan in Indonesia to open new corridors for business across our provinces. These plans are very good, but our government must move without delays to the implementation phase to get real projects underway, and we businessmen is willing to assist that. And now, to attract the infrastructure investor and the business and services that will follow, we need clear and certain laws and regulations from our government that will give more confidence for long-term investment. This is also required to make ASEAN growth sustainable, as we will face the challenge of food shortage and climate change. Sustainable growth in the ASEAN economic community will also depend upon us becoming more innovative and more inclusive in ASEAN. We cannot build a successful community unless it has a real face. It has a real place for the millions of SMEs in ASEAN and for the new generations of young entrepreneurs who have the confidence to operate in a competitive global environment. Ladies and gentlemen, above all this, it is a time for strong business leaderships in our regions to help our government to meet the immediate challenge and to work with them in shaping ASEAN economic community and our region. This should be a cooperative and continuing effort between ASEAN businesses and our global and regional partners at this summit that can reflect. I thank you for all of you to come to Bali and wish you a well in the discussions over the next 2 days. Thank you very much.